Dana Perino along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Juan Williams, Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. President Trump has a big decision to make. Will the U.S. retaliate against Syria? Bashar Assad accused of using poison gas again on his own people.
It was an atrocious attack. It was horrible. You don't see things like that, as bad as the news is around the world. You just don't see those images. We are studying that situation extremely closely. We are meeting with our military and everybody else, and we'll be making some major decisions over the next 24 to 48 hours. We are very concerned when a thing like that can happen. This is about humanity. We're talking about humanity, and it can't be allowed to happen.
The president is also putting Russia and Iran on notice, suggesting they may have played a role and could face serious consequences as well.
He may, yeah, he may. And if he does, it's going to be very tough. Very tough.
He'll pay a price.
Everybody's going to pay a price. He will. Everybody will.
Mr. President, is U.S. military action off the table?
Excuse me?
U.S. military action, is it off the table?
Nothing's off the table.
The attack in the town of Douma outside Damascus reportedly killed at least 40 people, many of them children. It comes almost exactly a year after the U.S. retaliated for the last Syrian gas massacre. An emergency Security Council meeting held at the United Nations this afternoon. Greg, a lot of people wondering if the United Nations would actually put any teeth behind or into this action. The attack came at the breakdown of talks between Assad and the rebels.
Yeah, the timing for this is so weird. President Trump says we're pulling out, and a chemical attack presents itself, which kind of says not yet. Mm-hmm. And there are very smart people, far smarter than me on this, who believe that Syria is behind this. Tom Rogan wrote a piece today in the Washington Examiner, and I think Senator McCain. But this doesn't make sense to me for two reasons. Number one, Syria can't hide from retribution. So clearly, if they're responsible, they will be bombed. It's not like they can run to the mountains. Mm-hmm. We're going to get you. We're going to bomb your airports. Your Air Force will be gone. Number two, if you want America to leave, why would you do this? Maybe I'm not that bright, but why would you do this? But anyway, aside from that, we're still going to retaliate. And the reason why we're going to retaliate is because Assad is like O.J. Simpson. O.J. didn't get found guilty of his real crimes, of killing Nicole and Ron, right? He was found guilty of a later charge for armed robbery and kidnapping. The fact is, Assad has done enough bad stuff that if he didn't do this, so what?
Well, to your point, Jesse, perhaps I think that Assad has decided that the benefits of victory outweigh the possible repercussions from the West.
Right. He's desperate, and I think he's on his heels in this village where the rebels have really turned it up a notch. And I don't believe that he would do this without Russia's knowledge beforehand. They're the sponsor and they're the puppet master. But Trump was handed a mess in Syria, and that's not my comment. That's Obama's National Security Council spokesman, Tommy Vitor, who actually just said that himself the other day. And here's why. When Obama was president, there was a big leadership vacuum in the region, and Russia came in to fill it. Now, we remember the beginning of this civil war. The Obama administration spent $500 million to train 5 Syrian rebel fighters. So it was a waste from the jump. And then you have this incredible gas attack where Obama drew a red line, didn't respond, and Putin had to swoop in and then help President Obama save face and organize this group to rid Syria of these chemical weapons. And people like John Kerry and Susan Rice bragged about bringing all the chemical weapons out of there. President Obama himself said it was the crowning achievement of his foreign policy legacy. That's obviously in tatters now. And it didn't help, sending, I think, almost $2 billion in cash to the Iranians. So right now you have a proxy war, and it's probably just tribal. It brings in the great powers, America and Russia, but you have the Saudis and the Iranians too going at it because there's a major natural gas pipeline, which obviously I don't understand, but they're trying to reroute it to the European Union. And
I think you understand it.
Okay.
That's what they're trying to do.
And Russia has, this port city that gives its Navy access to the Mediterranean. They want to keep a hold on that. They have an air base with about 1,000 1,000 personnel, and Syria allows the Iranian Navy access to the Saudis, the Israelis, and our rebels, and they're getting desperate. And I think Putin's probably hurting from the sanctions, and his oligarch friends are hurting from the sanctions, and energy prices are low, and they're just trying to test our resolve. And I believe, and you can see President Trump seething when he's crossing his arms like that. The last time he crossed his arms like that was the fire and fury comment. So I think they're going to pay, like he said, a very steep price.
Juan, every major player is there. The United States and our Western allies. Russia, Iran, perhaps North Korea, because we know that North Korea had been helping Syria before with nuclear material and possibly chemical weapons now, but also Israel. And when the attacks started happening in Syria last night, the United States quickly said, well, it's not us. And everybody else was saying it's not us. Nobody will actually say that it's Israel. But what I noticed is that Saudi not complaining that Israel took action.
No, and I think it was very important for people to understand that Israel decided that they could take unilateral action. But again, it's because the United States is there to back them up.
Right.
And so it's, in a sense, Israel acting in a way that would help the United States and allow President Trump more time to decide exactly what is the appropriate action. I think it's very telling, though, that, you know, it was a year ago that he said Assad was not a priority for him, and that's when Assad did the chemical weapon attack then. And this time, it was his remarks in Ohio last week saying that it's time to get out of Syria, and now they act again. So it looks like whenever there's a sign from the U.S. government that maybe we're not paying full attention, Assad then sees that as a signal for him to take action. He can do what he wants to do. And to me, this is very troubling because it opens the door not only to Russia and Iran, but to also Islamic State coming back into the picture, and if not Islamic State, then Al-Qaeda. And don't forget the Taliban is right next door.
Kimberly, the thing that's so disgusting about Assad is his willingness over and over again to attack children. And in particular, out of these 40 that were killed, many of them were children. Now, their children and innocents are dying by lots of other means as well. But, you know, chemical weapons, is that going to be our red line?
Yeah, well, it should be, right? And it should have been a long time ago. And now this is an opportunity for President Trump to show his resolve and his strength that he will not tolerate these kind of atrocities and the genocide that's been going on over there. Really, this guy is just, it's disgusting and outrageous, a lack of any kind of morality or humanity to murder children in this way. Obviously, Israel stepped up to the plate. They, like we said, they have the backing, you know, of the United States. I think that is a significant strategic partnership that really is going to be able to change the course of history in that region, which is so fraught with so many problems in terms of just the geocomplexities of that region, politically and otherwise. But right now, this is going to say a lot, I think, also about, you know, President Trump, his presidency, his handle on foreign affairs and national security. He has shown the strength before, and it has worked, and I think he's going to respond rather quickly in regards to this.
You know what?
Can I respond to one, though?
Oh,
about
sure.
what you, okay. You know, when some big guy, bad guy, leaves a bar and he's going to leave a bar, you don't throw something at the guy as he's leaving. You just hope he leaves. And what you said was that Trump saying that signaled Assad that there was a lack of attention and therefore he could then take his own action. Why wouldn't he just do nothing and just let the big guy leave, let the American power go?
And I also think, if I just to add to that, just to reemphasize, what happened on Friday was that the talks between Assad and the rebels broke down. So I mean, I don't know if there was causation or correlation or whatever, but there was an action in Syria that maybe they weren't even paying attention to what President Trump was saying.
No, I think they were paying attention to Trump, but I think that it, as you said, you can't do one thing or the other. It might be, but I think for them, the United States is the counter, is the big guy walking out of the bar. Right. And once you see the big guy walk away, for Assad, it was, hey, this is my country. This is what, by the way, what Vladimir Putin said, that Assad is the legitimate president of Syria. And you can't, he says to Trump, you can't talk and act to a legitimately elected president in this way. And it's interesting that President Trump then said to Putin, who he's oftentimes, you know, reluctant to criticize, you're wrong. I was really struck by that.
Well,
and
I think they must have intel that says
I'm sorry,
that.
go ahead.
I just think that they must have intel that tells them that they know that, like, Russia, they're like 119 million people or something. Like, this is a country that's trying to make some sort of investment in Assad, and they made a really bad bet in him.
Yeah,
So
and it goes on and on.
But now you have this seething cauldron of, as Kimberly was saying, the geocomplexities really makes for John Bolton having a big first day at the office as National Security Advisor.
Welcome to the job, John.
Indeed. All right, next, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch breaking her silence on that infamous tarmac meeting. What she's saying about that, James Comey, and more next on The Five.
So we swapped your car out for the all-new Chevy Traverse.
Yes.
Do you think it's going to surprise your daughter?
Absolutely.
Wait, is Mom here yet? Where's Mom? She's in this car. What the heck? Whoa. Yo, whose car is this?
This is the all-new Chevy Traverse.
This is beautiful.
It has Apple CarPlay compatibility. Do those apps look familiar? Oh. You want to hit this button? There's a hidden compartment.
Oh. Mom, when I'm older, can you buy me this car?
I want to buy me this car.
For every hour that you're idling in your car, you're sending about half a gallon of gasoline up in the air. That amounts to about 10 pounds of carbon dioxide every week.
Growth is good, but when it starts impacting our quality of air and quality of life, that's a problem. So forward-thinking cities like Sacramento are investing in streets that are smarter and greener.
The solution was right under our feet, asphalt. Or to be more precise, intelligent asphalt. By embedding sensors into the pavement, as well as installing cameras on traffic lights, we'll be able to analyze the flow of traffic. Then that data runs across our network, and we use it to optimize the timing of lights so that travel times are shorter.
Who knew asphalt could help save the environment?
Let's see why people everywhere are upgrading their water filter to Zero Water. Start with water that has a lot of dissolved solids. Pour it through Brita's two-stage filter. Dissolved solids remain? What if we filter it over and over? Oh, dear. Thank goodness Zero Water's 5-stage filter gets to all zeros the first time. So maybe it's time to upgrade. Get more out of your water. Get Zero Water.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's fly away.
It's time to pick a used car.
I really don't want to get ripped off.
Just start at Carfax.
Yeah, show me the Carfax.
Get the most accurate price based on a car's history.
Look at all the great deals.
Start your used car search at the all-new Carfax.com.
I always wanted to speak French, but I never had the time. And then I tried Babbel.
Babbel, the quick way to get conversational in a new language. Babbel's award-winning interactive technology gets you speaking right away.
After just 4 weeks, I was feeling confident enough to have simple conversations in French. Their app uses a science-based space repetition method that really helps you retain what you learn. It works.
Now, you can try Babbel free, the #1 selling language learning app in the world.
Lessons only take 5 minutes, so you can study anywhere, anytime. You're learning phrases that you can use right away in real-life conversations. Bonjour, mademoiselle, ça va bien, merci. I was amazed at how fast it was, and now I'm speaking French. I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can see I was just taught the wrong way.
Try Babbel free today. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language.
This is a Fox News alert. There's some breaking news today on President Trump's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen. The FBI raided his office earlier, seizing documents. More now from Chief White House correspondent John Roberts.
Jesse, good afternoon to you. We know now that the FBI raided not only Michael Cohen's business office, but also raided his apartment and a hotel room in which he has been staying. And I am told that the FBI took pretty much everything that they could find that was in the form of paper or electronic communications. Now, we don't know exactly what this has to do with.
though in the course of seizing all the documents, and it could have just been because they were there as part of it, not necessarily what they were looking for, were documents related to the $130,000 payment that Michael Cohen made in October of 2016 to Stephanie Clifford, a.k.a. Stormy Daniels, as a part of her agreeing to that confidentiality agreement that she has been fighting with her attorney, Michael Avenatti, to get out of for some time. We got a statement from Stephen Ryan, who is Michael Cohen's attorney, the attorney representing the attorney, if you will, who said the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York executed a series of search warrants and seized the privileged communications between my client, Michael Cohen, and his clients. Ryan was advised that by federal prosecutors that the New York action was in part due to a referral from the special counsel Robert Mueller. So that's where we now have the tie between what's going on here in Washington and what happened there in New York. Cohen's attorney Ryan goes on to complain about the seizure of privileged documents, saying it was completely inappropriate and unnecessary. It resulted in the unnecessary seizure of protected attorney-client communications between a lawyer and his clients. Ryan going on to say there was no reason for them to do this because Cohen provided thousands of non-privileged documents to Congress and also sat for depositions under oath. Stormy Daniels' attorney couldn't wait to show his glee at this latest development because he and Michael Cohen have been in a cage match over Stormy Daniels trying to get out of her non-disclosure agreement. Michael Avenatti in a statement to Fox News saying, as I predicted last week on CNN and MSNBC, Mr. Cohen has been placed in the crosshairs by Mr. Trump. He has been set up to take the fall. An enormous amount of misplaced faith has been placed on his shoulders, and I do not believe he has the mettle to withstand it. If I am correct, this could end very, very badly for Mr. Trump and others. Again, we do not know the substance of what the FBI was looking for, only that it came in part from a referral from the special counsel's office. And, of course, Robert Mueller has been looking into Russia collusion. He's also been looking into the financial dealings of Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. He's got Michael Flynn on making false statements. He's got George Papadopoulos on making false statements. It would seem logical to assume, Jesse, that somewhere in the course of his investigation, Robert Mueller came upon some information that he thought that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York would want to know about. The U.S. Attorney's Office found that it was compelling enough that they sent the FBI to Michael Cohen's office, home, and hotel room to pick it all up.
Wow, John, serious developments. Thanks a lot. We're going to continue to update you guys on this as we learn more. Meanwhile, it gave Jim Comey a queasy feeling. That's how the former FBI director felt when his former boss, Obama Attorney General Loretta Lynch, pushed him to downplay the Clinton email investigation. It was Lynch's tarmac meeting with Hillary's husband, Bill, that ultimately led Comey to go public with the news of the probe.
Yes, in a ultimately conclusive way. That was the thing that capped it for me, that I had to do something separately to protect the credibility of the investigation, which meant both the FBI and the Justice Department.
Were there other things that contributed to that you can describe in an open session?
Probably the only other consideration that I guess I can talk about in an open setting is that at one point the Attorney General had directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter, which confused me and concerned me.
Now, in a new interview ahead of Comey's book release, Lynch contradicts his account.
This was a very sensitive investigation, as everyone knew. And the issue when he and I sat down at that time, which I think was early in the fall of 2015, was whether or not we were ready as a department to confirm an investigation going on, when we typically do not confirm or deny investigations into anything, with rare exception.
To the extent, though, that he noted it, that it bothered him, did he go to you and question your credibility with regard to the Clinton case?
We had a full and open discussion about it.
He didn't raise any concerns about it?
And concerns were not raised.
Okay, Kimberly, what do you make about Comey not raising the concerns directly to his boss's face? Do you think that's because speaking to his boss, or he was a little bit of a coward? If you're going to say, hours later, it really concerned me, but you never raised it, how do you square that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a concern, you need to raise it right away, promptly, and with, speed and efficiency to make sure that you have the record set straight and that you've addressed any concerns you have, because otherwise then you're in an explain game later on. And now you see here it's a problem because you have prior inconsistent statements, which could be highly problematic, any of this before the Congress, the IG, FBI, et cetera. There's a tremendous amount of exposure here. And I believe that she is trying to get out ahead of it with this book coming out, all of it, to make sure and try and clean up the record for herself.
Juan, what do you think about the dispute?
Well, it's kind of puzzling to me, to be quite honest. I don't understand why Jim Comey would say that. Now, we all know Comey's got this book coming out. It's going to be a big deal for the rest of the month. And I'm just curious. Now, Loretta Lynch said she wants to see what Comey has to say about why he came out at the last moment and had that long press conference in which he said they were not going to go ahead and file charges against Hillary Clinton, but here's all the horrible things and the carelessness that she displayed in the use of the private email server. And she said she didn't understand it. It was a surprising way for the Attorney General to be told by the FBI director of his decision. And so I think that she said, let's look for the book. Let's see how he explains it. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of backstabbing among people who used to work for each other.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I wonder if Comey has any of those. Kimberly has to remind me of the term for it, but those contemporaneous notes to file. Yes. What's it called? Like the
memos?
Is that what it's called? Yeah. Like a memo to file or something?
Memo to file that he referred to, that he said he took all of these
notes. Right, because we know that Comey did that. He says he did that with President Trump, and I wonder if he was troubled or concerned by something that Loretta Lynch had asked him, if he had a similar memo, and if any of us had a chance to interview him, we might actually ask that question. I'm also curious as to why she's doing this now, and then it occurred to me, Comey has no natural partisan support anymore.
You're right.
Not on the right or the left. The Clinton people probably dislike him more than the Republican people, for sure.
Yeah.
So they want to get out ahead of this to try to basically muddy the waters for Comey going into what is going to be a very big to-do with his book tour.
Yeah, that's interesting, Greg. Dana brings up a great point. There's going to be people on the left criticizing him during the book tour, and then obviously people on the right. Is that going to make him look fair and balanced, do you think, or is this going to look like enemy number one?
Yeah, everybody hates him, but it always goes back to the Clintons.
Right.
Wherever you go, there they are.
Yep.
It's like that weird horror film. They would stop. You look around, there they are, just behind the bushes, and it's the poor Democrats. They're like a building constantly trying to clean up after a lousy tenant that just left behind a complete mess. But regarding this pair, he calls her queasy. She says he's full of bull. They're like two siblings, pointing at each other over a broken window. What? Just blame it on the Clintons.
Blame it on the Clintons.
9 times out of 10, you're going to be right.
All right.
You're going to be right.
Pin the tail on the Clintons.
Yes.
Popular game here.
Like the segment on the 5 every day.
Yes.
Ahead, a victim and a hero of Parkland massacre finally leaves the hospital and calls out officials for failing to prevent the shooting. Up next.
You okay there, Kurt?
We're about to move.
Karate helps relieve some of the house buying stress.
At least you don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Call Geico.
Geico? Helps with homeowners insurance?
Been doing it for years.
I'm calling Geico right now.
Good idea.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Whatever it is that makes your business great, promote it with Vistaprint. 500 standard business cards start at just $9.99 when you enter code TVPROMO at Vistaprint.com.
What pushes us further than our best?
Is it the competition?
Or a personal test?
Or perhaps it's a hybrid of both.
your best is always ahead.
Because better is a never-ending quest.
Introducing the all-new Accord Hybrid. Now, North American Car of the Year for 2018.
At Safe Flight Auto Glass, we know that when you're spending time with the grandkids, every minute counts. And you don't have time for a cracked windshield. That's why at Safe Flight, we'll show you exactly when we'll be there with a replacement you can trust. Well done, sir.
Looks great.
Thanks for choosing Safe Flight.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Saving you time so you can keep saving the world.
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
We wanted to sell our home and at the best price, and we needed a real estate agent who could get that done. We're so glad we found HomeLight. HomeLight ranks over 1 million agents based on their actual track record. They crunch the numbers to figure out who is best in your neighborhood, who can sell your home for the most money. HomeLight matched us with Alex. He sold our home in only 2 days for $40,000 over asking. When it's time to sell, the place to go is HomeLight.com.
When I'm shopping, I go into a fitting room and nothing seems to fit me right. But with Stitch Fix, I get clothes that fit and I save a bunch of time.
With Stitch Fix, you fill out an online profile, you get your own stylist.
I set my sizes, styles. My stylist listens to me.
The box is right there. Keep what you like, send back the rest.
It's that easy.
I'm amazed at how they get the fit right.
Stitch Fix gives me a sense of excitement about clothing. Sign up at stitchfix.com.
Online dating? I know people meet that way, but where would I even begin?
Open laptop? Go to OurTime.com. Look for free. It's easy to take a look on OurTime, the fastest growing dating site for people over 50.
Booking a flight at the last minute doesn't have to be expensive. Just go to Priceline. It's the best place to book a flight a few days before my trip and still save up to 40%. Just tap and go. For the best savings on flights, go to Priceline.
This is Laura, and Butch, and Tank, and Tiny, and this is Laura's Mobile Dog Grooming Palace. Laura can clean up a retriever that rolled in foxtails, but she's not much on articles of organization.
Articles of what?
So she turned to LegalZoom.
They help me out.
She means we help with her LLC, trademark, and a lot of other legal stuff that's part of running a business. So Laura can get back to the dogs.
Would you sit still?
This is Laura's Mobile Dog Grooming Palace, and this is where life meets legal.
So it's been over 6 weeks since the Parkland shooting. During that time, we've seen marches, town halls, and media spectacles, both great and small. Heroes and villains have been made, spokespersons anointed by cable news. But up until last Wednesday, one person didn't take part because he had been shot 5 times as he tried to protect his fellow classmates. Anthony Borez was released from the hospital, a teen no one had heard from until now. He saved upwards of 20 students. His attorney read a statement from him which criticized Sheriff Scott Israel and others for knowing the shooter was bad news before the attack, but still did nothing.
Both of you failed us students, teachers, and parents alike on so many levels. I want to ask you today to please end your policy and agreement that you will not arrest people committing crimes in our school. I want all of us to move forward and end the environment that allows people like Nicholas Cruz to fall through the cracks. You knew he was a problem years ago and you did nothing.
Borez was too weak to talk, but his statement was strong. It reminded us of the facts as criticism took us back to what was revealed post-attack, that tons of calls were made about the shooter over the years, that he had emotional and disciplinary issues before coming to Stoneman Douglas. He was abusive. Still none took action. The statement also mentioned the Promise program, which allows young criminals to avoid arrest. So the question is, will this messenger receive the same platform and spotlight that others received? It's a sad reality in the world of cable news. We have to move on. Other tragedies await. But Anthony cannot move on, which is why we should press pause and listen to what he's trying to tell us. He cannot move on. The fact that Scott Israel can is a disgrace.
Terrible.
Yeah, Kimberly, we've heard very little from Scott Israel. The guy used to seek the spotlight, but now he's under a rock.
Yeah, because now the facts are raining down on him, and he cannot escape the truth. He tried to blame others. He demonized the NRA, Dana Lash. He blamed people at the school. He blamed everybody except for accepting responsibility for choices that he could have made that would have prevented this. When you have authorities being called